Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ad America. Thank you. For those of you new here, Ad America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, the place to learn more about American culture. Hello, Sobat America. My name is Aldi Rashid, and I will be your e-guide for today's event, USAID Internship and Career Fair 2024, Enhancing Skills for Career Success. Boleh minta tepuk tangannya dulu, teman-teman? Thank you. And now, for our engaging discussion, I would like to introduce our moderator for today. He is the Controller and OFM Director of USAID Indonesia. Please welcome Mr. Erin Bishop.
Hello, good afternoon. So my name is Erin Bishop. Happy to see you all here at the USAID Internship and Career Fair. We're so happy to have you looking out for good career opportunities and meeting some of the great organizations that are set up upstairs, I guess, at the ballroom. But as the moderator for this event, I'm so happy that some of you have come down to join us for a panel discussion this afternoon. We also have some folks joining, as I understand, online, so welcome. The title of our panel discussion today is Skills Enhancement for Career Success. So we have the career fair going on through, I think, 8 p.m. tonight. People connecting with companies, getting their resumes reviewed, doing some mock interviews. But over the next hour, we have a few goals that we would like to achieve. So first of all, we want to help you prepare for having a great resume and a cover letter. That's the first one. Next, how to find employment opportunities that fit your skills. Third, how to prepare for job interviews. And finally, what else you can do to build your career. So it's pretty ambitious agenda for just a 1-hour session, but we'll do our best to touch on each of these topics. In order to get through all this material, we've assembled a diverse panel, each with unique insights. And so I'd like to invite them to the stage one by one. First, we have Claudya Rengkung, a student at Binus University. Please, Claudya. She is majoring in international relations with a focus on international political economy. Originally from Manado, and currently reside in Manokwari Selatan in Papua Barat. Her diverse background enriches her perspective on development and sustainability. She had an internship at USAID in our Economic Growth and Education Office. It's the EGE office. So I look forward to hearing her insights from that experience. Next, we have Akbar Ahir, Country HR Manager for Oracle. He graduated from UGM with a major in international relations and has been working as an HR professional for 10 years with experience across the banking and tech industries. Currently, he leads human resource operations and strategies for Oracle here in Indonesia. He is passionate about sharing his experience, engaging with students and young professionals like you, who want to learn more and advance in their careers. And finally, we have Erin Nicholson, the Deputy Mission Director of USAID Indonesia. She started her career at USAID as a presidential management intern at our headquarters in Washington, D.C. She has been a Foreign Service officer since 2005, serving in Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, South Africa, and Mali. Erin holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Oregon, a master's in international development economics from Tufts University, and another master's in national resource policy from the National Defense University's Eisenhower School. That's a lot.
Long career.
Welcome to the panelists. Thank you for joining me. So I prepared a few questions to get the conversation started, but I will save some time for questions from the audience and also from the folks online. So please start thinking about any questions that you may have for the panelists, because we'll be turning to you in a moment. So I have the first question, if we are ready. So first, I'd like to start with resumes, right? This is one of the super basic things that we're going to be covering this afternoon. Hopefully, you had have already prepared a resume. For those who are joining for the career fair, hopefully you have a few copies with you that you're sharing with the organizations that have joined us here at the career fair. Hopefully you've also signed up for the resume review session that we have immediately following this session. But on the subject of resumes, I would like to start with Mas Akbar. I wonder if you could start out with a few examples of people who have used resume really successfully.
Okay, thanks, Erin. That is actually a very good question because as a recruiter, your first line of portfolio is your resume. So if you send out a resume, make sure that it's clear, concise, and that is perfectly tailored for the job that you're applying for. It's very good to maximize the use of bullet points. I cannot stress this more, but in the field of recruitments, we sort maybe, if not more than 500 applicants per day, maybe even per weeks, more than 1,000. And it's very helpful to have your resume stand out from the rest of the candidates or the applicants. So what I suggest you do is to tailor it based on the job vacancy or the job role that you are applying for, and make sure that your experience is, do some research beforehand before you apply for the company, and make sure that your experience is a good fit in the company, and the job role is match your skill set. It's very important, and as much as you can, make your resume unique. It's very important because when it's eye-catching, the chances of a recruiter picking you up and reading your resume firsthand is very important, because then because like in the morning when I just had my coffee and then I saw through resume and I see an eye-catching resume, throughout the day I'm going to be thinking about that resume, and I'm pretty much most likely going to have a callback for that one particular applicant. So yeah. And then last but not least is customize. So make your resume as much as you can, customize it for the role and the industry that you are gunning for. So therefore, it's tailor-made, and the recruiter is able to see that you are pretty serious about the job that you're applying for.
Thank you, Mas Akbar. I would like to emphasize the point about bullet points. I guess there is some sort of art to making a resume, and some people, maybe there's a way to use long paragraphs in a smart way, but I prefer the quick bullet points to pick up the facts.
Yeah, because it's pretty overwhelming if you see a lot of text piled up in one page. It's I don't know, especially after a long day, you don't want to read a lot of text, especially when you are have been doing that for the whole day. So using the bullet points is a pretty pro tips that I can give you, and it's gonna stand out.
Great, thanks. So once your resume is ready, you need to get it noticed by the right people, right? So next, I'd like to turn to Erin Nicholson. What advice do you have for finding the right job opportunity and successfully connecting with the right people?
Thank you, Erin, for that question. Well, step one is to show up and go to career and internship events like what you're doing today. So just looking at the marketplace, getting to know the marketplace, getting to know the universe of options of jobs in the areas that you're interested in, that's one. So really educating yourself on what is out there, and thinking about your alumni associations, interacting with alumni of your school, reaching out for informational interviews as much as possible, even if it's like 20 minutes, just a quick 20, 30-minute chat with someone who's in your line of work or in the area that you're interested in, you know, if they're 10 years or 20 years further along in their career, but like get a chance to hear about what their experience was. And they also might have recommendations. So every time I speak with someone in kind of a mentoring role, I try to give them like 3 tips, you know, 3 contacts or three areas that they might not have thought about to kind of continue their research and expanding their network. And then internships are a great opportunity to get your foot in the door in different types of organizations and getting a sense if that's the organization for you. I did a number of internships when I was just entering the labor market. And for example, I worked at World Affairs Council of Oregon. I was interested in foreign affairs, and this council got me into contact with like authors and political thinkers in the area that I was interested in, foreign relations. So that was a good experience. Then, because I had a journalism degree, but I wasn't going to go into journalism precisely, but then I got an internship at Mercy Corps, also in Portland, Oregon, and I was in the communications team. So then I got to, you know, learn the writing style for the NGO and also learn more about what Mercy Corps did and all of their overseas work. And then I got one more internship where I got to test out what's the UN like. I just happened to have an opportunity, and I made cold calls, and I got that internship. But it was with UNESCO, where I was writing reports. More writing. Writing is a very important skill. Interns will probably have be very welcome if you're willing to write reports. So by just kind of doing that outreach, I was able to land some initial opportunities to educate me on, do I want to work for an NGO? Do I want to work for the UN? And then there's always the private sector. So over to Erin.
Awesome, thanks. That's an impressive list of internships. I know that I'm not one of the panelists, but I just want to share a really quick tidbit, which is I went to a pretty good university in the U.S., and an internship is like kind of important part of like the career process in the U.S. And so I tried really hard. I interviewed with a few companies. I lived in the Chicago area, so a big city, and I completely failed. I didn't have an internship for between my junior senior year. This is the time when people normally, you know, get that experience, and it helps them, as you say, you find out what they like, what they don't like, maybe land a full-time offer. So I was really, you know, frustrated. I thought, oh, my career hasn't started and it's already stopped, and you know, so of course I was really stressed going into my last year of university, but it all worked out. I won't tell you the whole story, but in case you're, you know, it's great that you're all here looking for internships and looking into career advice today. But you know, we all have success. Some people have more success than others. But you know, every time you have a setback, you know, you just keep moving forward. And moving on then, so assuming we have found the right job and you get the attention of the recruiters or the HR folks at the organization that you're targeting, now we need to prepare for the interview. So, Claudya, you've been through many interviews lately with some success. What strategies do you use to prepare for an interview?
Okay, thank you so much, Erin, for the question. So basically, preparing for something is important, right? As we all know, especially if you're preparing for an interview. So the things that help me to be well prepared for an interview, the first one is you need to know your resume inside and out. Why? Because it can give you a confidence when you're talking about your stories, your background, your achievement or experience in some field. It can give you a confidence, and you can link them into the role that you are currently applying for. And then I think it is really important to do a little research about the company or the field that you are going into, that you are applying for, because this will show your enthusiasm and commitment, and also it can help you to structure your response that is aligned with the company mission, their values, their goals. And before that, you need to understand also like the company mission, value, and a little bit history about the company that you are into. And then the last one is, like the old saying, practice makes perfect. I think everyone know that. You should be prepared. You should practice, practice, and practice until you are well prepared to answer any question that is going to be thrown at you. For example, like a typical questions like, oh, can you tell me a little bit more about yourself? What is your strength and weaknesses? Until to the question that is out of the box. For example, oh, you are the coordinator or the head of this company, and then you have an event that you have to attend to, but at the same time you have a family problem at home. So which one is your priority? Those question is really tricky, I would say, so you should be well prepared for that.
Great. Yeah, thanks for all those tips. So I hope the audience was taking notes. We had some good strategies and suggestions already. For those who've signed for the mock interviews today, you still have time to try to apply some of the advice that Claudia gave you. I think we have mock interviews starting at 4, running through 7 or 8 tonight. If you haven't signed up, I think there's still time to get a slot. The sign up is in the ballroom. Anyway, so now I'd like to just ask if the panel members have any other sort of general insights. I want to take some time for the audience to ask questions in a minute, but I know we have a lot of good experience and good advice from the panel here, so maybe if you could each just take a moment to share other advice that you may have. Maybe we start with you, Claudia.
Okay, so probably I would start with my highlight is how you can stand out in a crowd. Like in a bad way, nowadays people call it being a pick me, but not in a bad way, because you're being a pick me and you want to stand out, like you want the interviewer or the company to look directly at you. I think most of the people, especially young people here, they are familiar with the method called STAR. Do you guys know that? Okay, I see a lot of nods, so that's a yes. So the STAR method stands for situation, task, action, and result. And this approach can help you to structure your response, especially when you're talking about your stories, your background, and it could highlight your skills and experience to be more effective and clear. And this is the point that I want all of you to focus on. If you're doing an interview, just be yourself. Just be authentic. Because when you share genuinely about your experience, your passion, it not only will make you memorable for the interviewer, but it also will show your commitment and your integrity. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, how about you, Erin? Do you have some favorite insights for job seekers, career builders? Please.
Continuous learning is one thing to do. Even if you finish your degree, you might think, oh, I never want to go back to school, right? You're done. But actually, after a bit of time, it's good to make sure that you continue to keep training. Otherwise, your knowledge will be dated, and the marketplace continues to evolve. In certain sectors, it evolves more quickly than others, but you have to be willing to continue to learn. Mentorship, find a mentor, find someone, at least one that you can go to for getting some advice, or a lot of times you might have some dilemma. Do I go this way or that way? And having a good mentor can be a good sounding board. Also, be willing to try new things, volunteer for the areas that you're interested in. Like sometimes you just have to get your foot in the door, take a risk, do a new assignment, be willing to try, do something new to continue to kind of push yourself and stand out for your career advancement. And set goals. Take some time to think, where do I want to be in 2 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? And before you know it, time passes by quickly because you're having so much fun doing all these internships and all these jobs. So you want to make sure you set goals along the way so that you get to where you want to go.
Cool. Okay, Masaipar, other tips?
Probably just to add a little bit on what Erin and Claudia have already, well put. It's not to look down on any job role, and if you have any, opportunities to go into an internship. I know that in Indonesia, culturally, we are expected to, right off the bat after graduated college, a fresh graduate is actually expected to land a full-time job. Speaking from experience, that's not true. I mean, I graduated from Gajah Mada University, and then most of my friends are, already secured their day job and have a permanent job. But I started off as a internship in banking industry, which is very unrelated to my major. And just like what Erin said, it's as long as you have a breakthrough and get the sense of how it is to have a professional life on the professional setting, it's a very good opportunity, and it's a selling point for you to actually prepare you for a job interview. So never underestimate the power of experience, whatever experience there may be. If you have something that you've done in college, and any professional or any some sort of a political, economical that is very in a educational environment that you did in college, that could also be a selling point. And also, be prepared for an interview, because as an interviewer, we are doing that on daily basis, so we can see right through you if you are very nervous or if you come unprepared, and that could be a little bit, a little bit of a turnoff. So, what I did, this is not my first time speaking in front of in a good in a broad audience. I had bigger audience than this before, but like maybe this is also because I have spectacular panels here with me. But 1 hour before this event, I just talked to myself in the mirror just to practice. So practice makes perfect.
True. Thank you so much. All right, so we've given a lot of good, thank you, yeah. So that's a lot of general advice, just some questions that I had thought of, but I want to make sure we address questions from the audience. I do have a long list of more things we can go through, but if there's anyone that has a question from the audience, I think we have microphones to, go ahead. And sorry, if there are questions online, I think you can type them in, and I'll be able to see them in case we want to cover some of those as well. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Fitri. I just graduated from International Relations Study Program in President University. So I have a question for Akbar. Sorry, for Akbar. I want to know what is an interesting CV looks like to you as a recruiter, and how important it is to write our skills in our resume. And can you tell us what is the best way to describe our skills in our resume? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, Mbak siapa tadi namanya?
Fitri.
Mbak Fitri, okay. Very good questions, actually. I'm going to start it off with the question number 2 is, what are the experience that you should put on your resume is, of course, first of all, is research the company that you are going to apply for, and see if your experience and your skill set matches the job role that they are looking for. And it's very important. And that brings me to the first questions, because when your experience and your skills are, what the recruiter are actually looking for, because nowadays we are using Adobe, we are using a lot of platform to basically sort through your resume. It's very easy to find keywords that we are looking for. So when you are explaining your skills or your experience, make it about, again, stressing on bullet points, put it on points. What are your skill set and your experience that you have, that you possessed, instead of just like describing your duty in your college or what you do. Just highlight what are the experience and the general experience and the skills that you have. So because when the recruiters are looking through your CV, we tend to, I don't want to say often, but we like to take shortcuts. So we like to basically look, control find and see the skill set that are, basically match the job that we are looking for. That's actually a pro tip that I can give you. So how do you make your resume stand out? I'm pretty sure that you guys are in a better position to tell me, because a lot of younger generation here is very creative in doing so. And do some research, because in the internet there are a lot of mock-up CVs that you can actually look. And you guys are very good to think outside the box as well, as I look through the CV nowadays. And put some colors in it, and maybe just like highlight the first experience that you are very proud of. Maybe, yeah, it's a good eye catch for a recruiter. Over to you, Erin.
Thanks, Akbar. Actually, I have a quick follow-up. We were talking before about resumes and applications that we've seen come into on our own desks.
That's true.
And attachments, right? So resume, I think we've given great advice, but what's your opinion about what sort of attachments, how many things do you submit along with that resume?
Okay, so over the span of 5 years being a recruiter myself, I've seen a lot of people attaching a lot of things. And the most common stuff here in Indonesia is to put your certifications. It's very good to put your certifications, and it's also what makes your CV stand out as well. And this is not very common, but they do have some cover letters too. So if the company that you are actually applying for is a very specific company that you dream about working there, it's actually good to back your resume up with a well-crafted resume, because if your skill and your experience have matched the job that we are looking for, we're probably and most likely going to read through your attachment as well as your long cover letter, and it's a very good backup as well.
Great, thanks. Do we have another question from the audience? Yes.
Okay, good afternoon. My question is for Mas Akbar. So my name is Almer. I'm a public health student in Universitas Indonesia, and my question is, what are your thoughts in pivoting and maybe pursuing something that is different from your academic background? Because currently you're doing HR, and as we know, you come from an international relation background, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that process. Thank you, Mas.
Okay, thank you. Well, maybe I'm not the only one who can answer this question. Maybe I'm gonna give it to the other panelists as well. But for me, just go with your passion, because growing up, I always like to observe people, and I like working with people. So right off the bat after college, I already know what I want to do. It's pretty uncommon in my family to go on a separate track from what you're studying at, and especially a lot of my friends have chosen the right track of becoming a diplomat and working in development projects and all that. But for me, it's very satisfying if you are fulfilling your own goals in your life. And if you by doing that, I think along the way, doing this, because you're gonna be in your job for the next 30, 40 years, maybe 50 years, right? So it's good to have a good base on how are you gonna be interested in what you do until you reach your retirement age. So I think go with your passion, and it's never too late to learn, because I learned how to deal with the HR things from scratch. I didn't learn it in college. I didn't learn it in school, but being observative is very good if you want to learn something new. So go with your guts, man.
Thanks. Erin, you want to add something?
I'll just add, a lot of times, you might get your 4-year degree and start, and you weren't really 100% sure where you really, really wanted to go. And it's important to do, a year or two of getting some good work experience. And if you finally decide a little bit later what you really wanted to do, a master's degree is a great pivot point, or some extra certification that you can do. So again, back to the continuous learning. But I definitely wanted to do development, but I didn't know how. And so then when I went back to my master's program, I was able to link into where the jobs were and how you actually enter the field. Because growing up in Oregon, we didn't have as many development opportunities. So.
Great, thanks. Another question from the audience?
Hello, thank you everyone. I'm Guntur, a recent pharmacist graduate from the University of Indonesia. Most of the directors said that we job seekers need to make ourselves stand out, including the professionals here have emphasized earlier. However, some people say that recruiters don't really like when job seekers being too overconfident about themselves. Of course, there's a thin line between confident and being overconfident with themselves. So how we job seekers can differentiate that and make ourselves stand out without being overbearing at the same time? Thank you.
Okay, I'm probably gonna take this one a little bit. Yeah, it is my bad. Yeah, I come across a lot of people that can somewhat shown that they are a little bit overconfident, but we know that we hire people from several different generations. So recruiter are expecting people to basically have a different approach on how they do interview. It's expected, but the most important thing is actually to keep it polite. So in Indonesia, you probably know we all here have moral compass, right? So we know which one is polite and which one is not polite. So in interview, especially in a professional setting, anything that is still within the appropriate limit, it's good. It's actually sometimes when you are looking for a specific job, maybe like I don't know, maybe if you are applying to become a master of ceremony or something in a creative field, it's good to have a confident, and the startup actually also strive on looking to shape their culture to be more having people that have a confident, so they can basically boost their culture as well. But as long as you are in the line of politeness and appropriateness, I think it's okay. Yeah.
I think it also could vary a bit by the company. So like, you always want to do a little research on the company culture, but from at least the places I've worked, I think that confidence can never be in overabundance, especially in an interview. I think the mistake that I see more is that people are not confident at all, and it's even to the point that it's difficult to hear them. They don't really not telling the story, with much enthusiasm or something. So honestly, I would advise everyone. I mean, this is my personal advice, but I think as much confidence as you can bring to an interview really is going to work, I think, in most fields. There must be some organization where they really prefer people who are super humble. So give it a second thought before you walk in the door. But I think it's a skill that's useful. I think all of us had to have some level of confidence. Again, referring to this event itself, to come up here and to tell our stories. Confidence comes in handy in so many situations, and I think most recruiters will recognize that. So, another question from the audience?
Thank you. Actually, I'm waiting for that side to ask question, but because it's already there. Okay, my name is Miss Pan. I'm from USAID. I have a question relating with the soft skill. First to Mas Akbar as recruiter, and also to Erin and Claudia. For Mas Akbar, my question is, in your experience, what is your technique, or how do you know that these people have kind of good soft skill, communication skill, leadership, etc., maybe way of thinking, etc., something like this one? Are there any technique or any way to know during kind of short interview? And and also the question for Erin and Claudia, especially because Erin already have experience to work in many agencies, and also Claudia maybe try to get job later. The question is how you show to your interviewer that you have kind of a good soft skill. In terms of, soft skill can be anything, right? Communication skill, way of thinking, leadership, etc. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Pa. That's a very good questions. And so it's pretty basic, and I think most of you have heard about this, and it's always asked in an interview. So whenever we want to actually judge people on how they do their soft skill, let's say a communication skill, we tend to ask like, tell a little bit more about yourself. That's a starter. And just go from there, and we can actually, value people from how they tell their stories and how they can concise their life story in a very relevant way to what job they are looking for. And for leadership skills, we can basically look from the perspective of their experience, and if they do have experience in leadership, and if they have gone through events or went through any programs in their college, that could be a thing as well. And by way of thinking, I mean, it's common as well in a pro hire. Pro hire is when we hire people that are experienced. So we tend to have a case studies given to them. That way we can see the thought process behind how they are managed to solve a case. And people usually tend to use the case that is real case and based on experience. And from there, we can see the thought process, and we can basically have a hypothetical questions if there is something, if there is a case that unlikely to be surfacing in the real world, and how would you solve that, and all that sort of stuff, I think can determine on whether or not a person have a good thought process and in terms of their.
Briefly on some of the soft skills, I think in an interview that could be illustrated depending on the question, but if the question is about like, tell us about a challenge you've overcome, and so maybe how you describe that context and what skills you applied to resolve a problem. If you talk about kind of like building consensus, bringing different parties together, or forming a team with different perspectives, I think that shows that you understand people and the soft skills for addressing a challenge or overcoming an issue. So I think in the challenge question shows your soft skills. And for leadership as well, I think also kind of highlighting at the end what are the results that you achieved through that process. And if you kind of demonstrate that you did it with other people, it's good to put yourself up, but if you make it sound like you did everything all by yourself without anybody else, it might sound not as great on the soft skills. You want to show that you can work with people in a team and then eventually lead a team.
So thank you so much, Pamispan. Pamispan is actually one of my mentors back in USAID. So for me, from my perspective as an intern, when I'm doing an internship and I want to showcase my soft skills, is, for example, if you are the kind of person that can adapt well in any situation or any work environment that you are put into. For example, working at interning at USA is my first ever working in a cross-culture work environment. So the first thing that I thought is like, oh my God, I can't mess this up, because I'm working with American, and this is my first time ever working with them. And then all I can think of, like, I have to really showcase, like I have to emphasize my traits that I can really adapt well in the situation or any work environment that I put into. And especially like Bu Erin said, that you really can't take all of the credits on yourself. You have to like have the traits that you can work well on team. You can, in an interview, you have to really like be proud on like your soft skills, like problem solving, critical thinking, like I said, team working, and then adaptability in any work environment that you are into. So it's really important to elaborate or express or just show off your soft skills that you have.
Thanks. Oh, I just was checking in on the questions online. We do have a couple here. Let me. Here's one from Bianca online. What are some effective networking strategies during the career fair that can help candidates make lasting connections? So we do have a lot of people in the ballroom right now, and I think this is a great question. Like how there's a short amount of time to speak with some of the companies that have come out this evening. Claudya, do you have any tips for people on how to sort of work a room in terms of getting the attention of the recruiters that are there, or other settings where you might want to network and get your point across that you're a strong candidate for them?
Okay, thank you so much for your question, Pat. So I think this question reflects back on what I just answered from Pat Miss Pan question. I think you really have to like show off what you got, your soft skills or hard skills. Just make like the company or like the people that you want to look directly at you gonna think like, oh yes, we have to hire them. We have to have this person on our team. You have to make some kind of move that is, I don't know, probably like unthinkable for some people. You have to really make them be, what can I say? Like, you have to make them look at you like you are a precious gem that we have to have you on our team. And I think like that is the feeling that I felt when I got the acceptance letter from any organizations or USAID, for example. I feel like I'm a precious gem that for them, like they think like out of everyone they choose me. It's probably because I showcase something about myself, about my ability, about my experience and skills that really make them think like, yes, we have to choose Claudya for this job.
Anyone else want to add networking advice for folks that are going to be in the ballroom this evening?
Well, just a little bit. I know it's nerve-wracking to come up to people and introduce yourself. And one advice to you is don't be, because people there for the same reason as you are, to network. And it's not creepy at all, because I've been to a lot of these networking events, and I've seen that a lot of, because culturally we are not encouraged to actually talk to strangers, right? So I think, but in networking settings, it's good to put yourself out there, and you never know who you're gonna meet. So I mean, it could be your next job for the person that you talk to. So don't be afraid.
Okay, I'd like to return to the subject of the interview just for a second. I have a couple other questions related to interviews. Let me think of which would like to go first. So one simple question, I think this also, the answer is going to be it depends, but is it a good idea for the candidate to also ask a question in an interview, right? So normally it's a 1-hour interview, you're there to answer most of the questions, but at the end, a lot of organizations will say, do you have any questions for us? And it might seem like a trap. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure the best response. So maybe Erin, you want to, what's your opinion on that?
I think it's a good idea to have a good question or two for your interview. But you want to make sure you've done your homework, so you don't ask a basic question that you should already know. So, I mean, there's different kinds of questions. Could be like, what are they looking for in the candidate? What's the ideal candidate? Maybe you've already kind of discussed it, but maybe just getting their view about what they're really looking for, or how do they define success in the job, to kind of get them to talk a little bit more. And then that'll give you some material for any follow-up, whether it's, you know, the concluding conversation or in your follow-up note after the interview. So yeah, get them, ask one or two open-ended questions and get them to talk.
Thanks. Akbar, I wanted to get your take on this because I think it's kind of cultural. Like in America, we usually have those questions ready, you know, and that just shows that you're interested in the company, you're excited about the job. But I wonder, is it good advice in Indonesia as well to have that extra question?
Yeah, it's actually the same thing here in Indonesia. It could be a deal breaker, even Erin here. And if you ask a good question that is spot on, I think it could be a good deal breaker for the interviewer, because that's how you make an impression as well, and that shows that you are very, serious about the job that you're applying for. And Ibu Erin said it so much better than I do, but like, oh, she could probably do my job, but yeah, that's true though. Emphasize on what was the question again? What was what? Okay, sorry. Okay, you need to basically ask the question on the career plan, on how is it looking like working in the company, so they know that you have a good long-term plan. Because I'm sorry to say this, as a recruiter, we don't like hiring a flight risk. So show that you are passionate in working in the company for the long run, and that you have a good career trajectory, right off the bat. So it's a good trait as well to have that in hand, I guess, Erin.
Yeah, in fact, I suggest people write that down. I think that might be there's not always a perfect answer, but I think at the end of the interview, if you say, like, what is my career, potentially look like at this organization, it shows that you don't just want the job like today or this year, but like you want to know, right? And like, even if you're not really planning to stay there for 20 years, it gives the impression, that you're really excited and you're thinking, you got the job and you want to know what it looks like 10 years from now. So there's probably a better answer, but I really like that one. I think people should use it for their mock interviews that are starting up here in a bit. I have another quick one, which is kind of tricky. I just want to get the take from one or two of the panelists. So I think that I've heard this from friends actually in Indonesia, also in the US, unfortunately. There are some interviewers that will ask sort of personal questions, or really what I would consider inappropriate questions. Is there a best way to respond to these? Does anyone have maybe Claudya, do you have this experience, and did you come up with a way to respond?
Okay, so I don't really ever experience this before, but if you do experience this, I suggest that probably you state that, oh, you rather talk about your qualification for the job or for the role that you're applying to, or you can redirect the conversation so it doesn't really focus on the inappropriate questions that been asked for you. So.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer. That it's tempting to just go ahead and give the personal information that is asked sometimes in interviews, but I really think it's better to just say, I would rather concentrate on my qualifications, and see if you can turn the direction a little bit and make it into a positive session. I think I had one more, and then. Yeah, so there are a lot of interview questions. I know each of you have been through interviews. Do you have a favorite interview question, either that you were asked or that you like to ask? Sort of the deal breaker question that kind of sets the okay candidates apart from the great candidates?
Well, for me, if I was being interviewed, my favorite question, and the question I hate the most, actually, Erin, is what has been your biggest challenge, and how you do your job and how you overcome it. And there is a very good way to answer that, is just to go back and see where are your biggest achievement is. And from there, I know that maybe for some of you, that you have overcome this particular challenge, that you may not feel that it's actually a challenge anymore. But when you see something that is an achievement to you, you can see that when you started off working on that specific area, you can basically put it in a way that it's something that you work on very hard, and the outcome is there, and I maybe succeeded my goal, or maybe you achieve your target and whatnot. And it's very good to go from the achievement that you have. So that is a question that is very popular here in companies.
Yeah, good one.
I haven't done too many interviews with companies here in Indonesia, but a typical question is kind of, what is your weakness? You know, you talk about your strengths, talk about your weaknesses. So when they come up with that, what is your weakness question, if they use that here, you got to come up with a good answer. You don't want it to be like a really bad character flaw or something, but you also want to maybe describe how you have overcome it, or how it's actually kind of a strength. So it's a chance to show your personality and share about yourself without oversharing.
Great. How about you, Claudia? You have a favorite question?
That's my least favorite question.
Or least favorite? And the challenge question that makes you think twice?
Okay, so I think my favorite questions is when the interviewer asks, what is your plus point and why should we hire you? That is my favorite part because I could go on and on, just be proud about the skills and achievement and experience that I have, because that's what I want to do. Like, we have to be proud about our skills, our experience, our achievement, even as small as a sand. You have to be proud of this. And then when someone asks, "Oh, what is your plus point? Why should we hire you?" You're like, "Yes, I'm the best. I'm your best pick." I think that's my favorite part of the interview, where the interviewer asks, like, "What is your plus point and why should we hire you?" And that is why.
Thanks. Yeah, those are all good. I mean, really, you can practice for an interview. These are questions that come up that, like, it's surprising that people are stumped when they hear some of these questions in an interview, because they're well known, right? We can check online and you'll get a list of questions that you can prepare in front of the mirror. So yeah, make sure you have good answers for these. I'll maybe throw out one more that I kind of like. It's, what motivates you in your career? So assuming that you've already had, had maybe an internship or a job, and that's just another opportunity to kind of tell about one of your successes. I like it because it uses the word motivate, so it's not just like your plus point or your strength, but just a different way of asking kind of the same question: what gets you excited about your job? Okay, I think we only have time for a couple more questions. We have any from the audience here? We have someone in front.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for all of your great insights today. My name is Brian Cheng from USAID. One question I have for you all is, I think everybody in this room has applied for a job online and has never hit send and never heard back, right? My question to you guys is every job available online? And is every job that's available only available online? And how do I create opportunities for myself, maybe in an industry that I'm really interested in? How do you find that job that you want? Thanks.
Okay, we're probably gonna get this one. So not all jobs are available on the website. The last job I got in Oracle is it didn't get posted before I even offered for the job. So networks is actually very important. The job platform, we have a lot of job platform right now, of course. And back to your question is it okay to send a resume to a unlisted job if maybe say you are very interested in working for the company? And it's actually a very well known throughout the recruiter, within the recruiter area. it's speculative applications. So whenever you send out a CV, a very tailor-made CV, we do have some jobs that are not being posted yet, and you may have a very good kickstart in terms of how your application is going to review. But don't get me wrong, but of course you're gonna, I mean, not of course, but like most likely you're gonna get called back, but the recruiter have to go through all the sort of the process of job posting and having another interview for all the people that have applied for the job as well, because that is actually part of the recruitment process that they have to basically go through, is to sort of multiple candidates. So I'd say that if you are sending your resume firsthand before the job even get posted, it kind of shows for the interviewers that you are very serious about wanting to work there, and that you have done your research and you know that you are the right man for the job and your skill set is match the job that is going to be offered. So I'd say do it. Yeah.
Okay, I have actually two questions online that are kind of related. One from Alan, and actually I can't read the other name, Rani, I think it is. Both asking about USAID. So the title of our event today is the USAID Internship and Career Fair. For those that are here and have already walked through the ballroom, you know that it's not just USAID, but I think over 40 other organizations that are looking to recruit people either for internships or for permanent employment. But we have a couple questions about USAID in particular, which I think it's fair to answer. The first one, should we graduate from a U.S. university to apply for a USAID internship? I think I know the answer to this, and Claudya knows as well. She's studying at Binus University and just finished an internship here for 3 months, I think, right? And we had how many? We had maybe 20 folks that were with us for usually it's once a year that we have internships at USAID, and we do also have a different program for people studying in the US, but the one that Claudya was participated in is for Indonesian universities. The other question coming from Alan, what specific skills, qualifications does USAID look for in interns? How can candidates make themselves stand out? So this is specifically USAID. I think maybe we think alike with a lot of the other organizations here today, but Ibu Erin, can you give some insight into USAID hiring strategy?
I think first is an interest or some type of knowledge about USAID or some passion to want to work with USAID. First is that motivation. And then a willingness and openness to do a variety of things. Depends, it could be like researching, it could be writing, it could be being part of a team to do an analysis. And I think in the interview, just showing like what you have done that's related, and then being open to what the needs will be within USAID. I have not been on the interviewing internship side for USAID, but I know, Claudya, you were interviewed for internships, so you might have more of insight in terms of how you sold yourself for that.
Okay, so when I was interviewed by the EGE team, one of the interviewers is actually Pak Mispan, and he's here. And actually, I just, like how I do normally in other interview, I just, be myself, just showcasing like telling them like, oh, I have this, and this, and I think this is perfect for the role that I'm applying to. I'm a perfect fit for your team. And I just emphasize more on how I really am passionate about, like we all know USAID works in the development field. So I just emphasize more like how I'm from West Papua, and then how I really so passionate. I really want to delve into like the development world, and then just like what I said earlier in the session, that you have when you're applying for some company or internship or a career, you have to get to know and understand the company's mission, value, and goals, so that you can tailor your response based on their mission.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds like a lot of confidence. Referring back to the earlier question, I think confidence could never be an overabundance. Unfortunately, I see that we're down to just about a minute left of our time. I would like to thank our panel. If I can get a round of applause for Akbar, Erin, and Claudia. I would also like to thank Ad America for hosting us here. This is an amazing facility. They wanted me to point out that it is available for other folks that want to do events like this. One of my favorite events that they have on a lot of Saturdays is something called Coffee Chats. It's maybe the much more informal event. It's not on a stage. It's just sitting outside with some coffee on a Saturday morning. And in fact, tomorrow morning, they have a coffee chat at 10:30. Actually, we didn't really talk about language skills. We all are really good at English, and but I think that maybe some of the audience members or folks online are a little worried about their English speaking ability, and Coffee Chat is a great way to improve. It's just a friend sitting around over coffee on a Saturday morning, and it's here tomorrow morning at 10:30. So again, thanks to Ad America for hosting us here. And thank you all for joining us. It's been really fun. I honestly wasn't sure how this would play out, but it turned out to be a lot of fun to be sitting on this side on the stage. But I would like to see you all get back up to the career fair and have opportunity to network and use some of the advice that the panel has given you. There is still time, I think, to sign up if you want to do the mock interviews or have your resume looked at here. That's what we're going to be doing here at America for the next few hours. We have a schedule set up for people who signed up for mock interviews and for resumes. But for now, we'll wrap up this panel. And I would just like to say to all of you for the rest of the evening and for your careers ahead, good luck and semangat. Thank you.
Thank you very much to our wonderful moderator and speakers for such an insightful discussion. And I would like to ask our moderator and speakers to remain seated because we will have a special ceremony after the end of this stream. And Sobat America, for more information about Ad America, you can follow our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube at AT America. And also be sure to check out our brand new website at www.atamerica.or.id. My name is Aldi Rashid with the entire Ad America team saying thank you and see you at the next Ad America event. Bye, everyone. Okay, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a token